first say it was a blessing to be here. I want to thank my dear Brother Christopher Morris for reading those words. I'll never forget 35 years ago. He was so kind to me, encouraging to me, supportive of me. I love you, my dear brother. Give him another hand, our dear brother. And then on the vanilla side, oh yes, Beverly Harris, Tom Drine, Robert Handy, Janet Walton, still here strong, Andy Lennox, still here strong, Robert Seaver. These are my brothers and sisters. I stand under their shadow in returning 25 years later. I want to acknowledge our artists. I want to acknowledge the drummers. And I'm going to read their names because I'm in a tradition that does not believe in namelessness. Where is my dear brother Hassan? There he is. Give him a hand. The saddest of all classical composers, 800 pictures, not one picture with a smile. First to write a requiem of death, don't mention Jesus, but a whole lot of love in it. That's the Johannes Brahms wrestled with the complex relation with Clara and Robert Schumann. You did a magnificent job. In fact, the critic, as you know, used to say, you have to have hands of steel, you have to have a heart of lava, you have to have a courage of a lion to play that song. They didn't know that the name sisters called security. And I mention the artist, why? Because not just a union, but anybody who has the audacity to withstand and understand and stand in the face of evil, stand in the face of unjustified suffering, stand in the face of unmerited harm, and understand it not as a problem, but as a catastrophe. We're not dealing with the problematic, you're dealing with the catastrophic. And yet in the face of that kind of darkness, you still feel the love flowing. For us, artists are not ornamental or decorative. They are integral and constitutive of who we are. And without the music, without the paintings, without the sculpture, without the dance, without the eloquence and the rhetoric, I could not stand here. And I still stand before you as the best that I've ever been, which is a redeemed sinner with gangster proclivities. Redeemed sinner with gangster proclivities. That's the best I'll ever be. And I learned that a long time ago growing up in Shiloh Baptist Church under the great Willie P. Cook. Never went to college, but 2 colleges went through him. Oh, Mr. Hinton, who was head
We are soldiers. The Lord's army. We have to fight. Although we have to cry. We've got to hold up the bloodstained banner. We've got to hold it up until we die. And when I decided to make Jesus my choice, yes, I was younger then, more parochial then, more provincial then. I didn't know I was going to have a magnificent colleague, Professor Jerusalem Lamptey, bringing the rich Islamic tradition so I can learn, we can learn together. But when I made that decision, I decided to be faithful unto death. Tempted to do so. So when I read the 6th chapter of Ephesians, I know there's a line in that same chapter that says, slaves, be obedient to your servants. Need a liberation hermeneutic. We all got a marriage. There's a fusion of horizons, the context of the text and the context of where we are. And because we keep track of the Word of God manifest in the love, and I decided to be on that love train, the train that Curtis Mayfield sang about when he said, people get ready. And on that train, there's no room for deliberate cruelty. There's no room for intentional nastiness. There's no room on that train for willful hurt, even though we all will fall on our faces, but we remind one another we can bounce back. What I love about union is union's bounce back power. Oh yes, we have a rich history of going up and going down. Anytime you have the audacity to understand yourself as a prophetic witness in an America that suffers from dodging death, dodging darkness, dodging truth, not mustering the courage to confront the way things are, wrestling with that commitment to righteousness can generate some pathologies of self-righteousness sometimes. Oh yes, that's why I remind myself every day I wake up. 59 years of trying to be a Jesus-loving, free black man in America, telling the truth and bearing witness to justice, that I'm still wrestling with the white supremacy inside of me. And if I'm wrestling with it inside of me, I know on the vanilla side there's a lot of work to do. I'm still wrestling with male supremacy inside of me. I'm wrestling with homophobia inside of me. I'm wrestling with anti-Jewish sensibility inside of me. I'm wrestling with anti-Islamic orientation inside of me. How come? Because I'm human, because I'm a product of a certain church, a certain block, certain nightclubs are going in at the time. Won't go into the details on that. Because I grew up in America. Got a chauvinism. Got an imperial sensibility inside of me. So when I read that scripture, we're on the battlefield. Begins with the battlefield of our own souls, a civil war that's raging inside of us. And we need each other, no matter what color, no matter what sexual orientation, no matter what class. We need each other on that battlefield to help us accent the best of who we are, the love, not the hatred, the justice, not the revenge, compassion. Not the name calling and finger pointing. The best of union has always been telling them that truth, especially these days. Oh, America and the world needs Union Theological Seminary more than it ever has needed it. Because we are at the moment of a decline of an empire. Precious, precarious experiment in democracy, yes, but who's going to stand in the face of evil, of unjustified suffering? Who's going to say something about the new Jim Crow? The prison industrial complex. Who's going to say something about the children of all colors? Thank God for the Poverty Initiative Program. Thank God for our connection with the best of the Occupy movement, but at the same time, it's bigger than that. The spiritual hollowness and shallowness of our day, the cultural superficial spectacle, the undeniable cultural decay of that empire. And that our young people so hungry and thirsty for a love, a justice, a touch, a hug, just a smile, maybe even just a positive gesture. I didn't experience that. I grew up in the ghetto, but it was not a hood, it was a neighborhood. I see our precious young brothers and sisters growing up in the hood and don't know what a neighborhood is. Yes. I just tell them, listen to a little Donny Hathaway. When he sings about the ghetto, you can see the love flowing out of it. Listen to a little Superfly. It's not just about the pimping going on. It's about the pimps in high places. Yes. Who are generating social neglect and economic abandonment and intense police surveillance. But it begins with me. What do I do? The political paralysis. How do we bear witness? Oh, we need each other. And the world needs us, not because we so good and we so smart. Rather because God can use cracked vessels like us to change the world and turn things upside down. And even if we don't fully understand it, it's the joy to be in on the program. So that's why I came back to Union. I want to be in on the program. And after all of the wrestling with the various theories and attempts to understand, I don't want to just be a theorist of the flame. I want to be part of the fire. So I charge you to be on fire. Learning, fire for wisdom, fire for justice, fire for love, and fire each other. So when you interact with each other, you can raise the criteria. Did I spread a little fire? Did I inspire just a little? But even in my critique, I pushed him against the wall, but then I still accented the ways he can bounce back. I didn't put him down and felt good about it. No, I reject the sweetness of revenge. I'm going to be wedded to the love train. And I'm glad to be a small part of that love train here in Union. Sister Serene Jones, I want to thank you for allowing me to come back, salute your visionary, courageous leadership. And the beautiful thing is that we, for the most part, will more than likely fail. If anybody on the love train, you got to get used to being wedded to a noble with what looks like a lost cause. On 59 years, I look back of all of the time and energy spent and still see all of this suffering in America and around the world. But the criteria that we measure the success is not the same as the world. There's something grander. There's something deeper at work. Try again, fail better. That's a lapsed Christian named Samuel Beckett. Try again, fail better. I want to fail with a boom. So when they put each and every one of us in the grave, they'll say, every ounce of this sisters and brothers' energy, intelligence, imagination, and love was so used up that there was no other place for them but this coffin. He did all that she could do, all that he could do to spread the love and the justice, and then hope to pass it on to a younger generation so they won't forget. They will remember and link their remembrance to resistance in a spirit of humility, but willing to take a stand the way that brother used to play organ in my church named Sly Stone said. Stand in the end, you still be you. One who's done all the things I set out to do. Stand as a midget standing tall, and the giant beside him about to fall. Stand. There's a cross for you to bear. Things to go through if you going anywhere. What a rich tradition. God bless you.